Hey, this is day 7 of learning Roam Render, and today I played with native Roam templates as well as I learned to save data from my custom component or into my custom component. So let me show you the end result. I run my template test. It inserts a component. The component has a couple of fields. I can go ahead and change these values. So change, and maybe this is 1. I'm going to add another field. This is going to be 2. And when I save it, then what happens is this data is saved right in here. Actually, I can come in here and I can add 3, and when I open this up, then of course 3 is going to be added to my list. And of course, if I remove items, then I can again update this and this update. So this is pretty straightforward. The resources I used was I looked around in the Roam help database, and this was a treasure I found on 1st of December, and this is where I took the idea from. So here you can see that this component takes the block ID. This I've used already, and it takes arguments, and this is what triggered the idea that I can actually add as many arguments as I want to my component. So this is what I did today. I first did a simple component. What this component does is, as you saw before, it takes the block ID and the arguments. I have a variable which is just a random set of values for the purpose of demonstration. So this is a vector of numbers and a string and a map. And then I have my button here. I print the arguments I receive, and I have a button that saves using the block ID some value, and I also pass in just another value in the arguments list just for the sake of having multiple arguments passed to this function. And what this does is it uses query to pick out the string of my component. So it searches for this string, and then it picks out from that component this regex will pick out the actual block ID. So it will pick out this block ID, and with that I simply do a string join, and I create the string of my new component, and I update the block. So this is how it works. When I save this, then it will recognize that this function or this component is now receiving these arguments. And if you look at the component, it looks like this. So these values were added. And frankly, you can go you can place whatever you want here. So you can place pretty complex data sets in here. And then my other component is exactly the same. All I'm doing is I'm adding a bit of logic to add based on the received arguments. I'm adding input fields with a onChange function to reset the value of the appropriate item in the vector, and I have my buttons to add an item to the vector or remove the last item of the vector, and I have my button to save, which calls my save function from here. So that's all I achieved today, maybe just to show you how the template looks like, but there is nothing really special about the template. So my test template is like this, and when I execute this template, then the result you saw is how it works. So thank you for the attention, and see you tomorrow.